Good afternoon, traders. It's Sunday the 23rd of December, and as we approach to the end of December, obviously we've got Christmas in a couple of days, which will be a non-trading day, so the markets will be closed. But other than that, we're as we would be with the markets. Markets open as usual. Except for potentially a little bit less liquidity in the markets due to investors being on holiday, etc. In terms of fundamentals this week, we don't have a lot to really focus on and look at, so we are looking mainly towards the technical factors. So if we get straight into Aussie dollar, here on the monthly time frame, you can see just how bearish this month has been. We came towards these moving averages, but this December candlestick, despite gapping higher, has now plummeted towards that 0.700 psychological level. It was 0.7,000, sorry, which has formed this big bearish engulfing the past 3 months, almost 4 months price action. So initially we are looking at this 0.7 level, whether we'll see a pullback to end the month, we'll have to wait and see, but at the moment, until we do break through that level, I do anticipate pullbacks. As you can see, it is quite a significant level, and it also marks the completion of the breakout from this upward channel. So on the weekly time frame, last week closed as a bearish Maribozu candle. We had slight hesitation the prior week, however this did form that rejection from that 0.7250. I did expect price to make an attempt at coming back towards that level, which it did early on in the week, but this fell short at the moving averages, and now price has continued downside. So despite this small bullish leg, which broke these minor highs here, we are still in an overall downtrend as price currently attempts to break these previous lows. So as I say, all eyes on the 0.700 monthly support level. Show you the daily time frame. Simple break of this uptrend, retest, and now we're back lower. Broke through the 0.750 daily support, which is now turned to resistance. So now we could retest that early this week, potentially consolidate above this level. However, overall could be seeing lower. I mean, in terms of longer term, so this is back to the monthly time frame, if we did break that 0.7 level, then we would be looking down towards here at 0.6675 before 0.6500 and 0.6250. So I mean, there's not too much to report on here, as we've just seen a nice downtrend, lower highs and lower lows, bearish pressure breaching that 0.7050, currently at these prior lows. So potential for some consolidation in this market this week between these levels. If we take a look at what the dollar is doing, we did have the bearish breakout here on the daily time frame, of this upward trend. You'll see the week finished saw a big retracement to close back above the moving averages. However, this could just be a retest of this broken trend line, and as you can see, price has pulled back from that simple moving average slightly, and we may be seeing the dollar continue to weaken now, which could actually be the start of something quite significant. But yeah, we'll have to see how price responds around this region. So with that dollar weakness, we would expect to see some strength back into Aussie dollar. However, the Aussie hasn't been doing too great in itself anyway, with the ongoing trade war as well. It's not looking great here. This 0.7 is really the last support level for Aussie before it just goes absolutely tumbling, and more than it already has. Now onto Usdjpy, and we've had something very interesting this week. So after the accumulation up at this 114 level, just take it to the monthly. I've mentioned the significance of this 114, 115 level on numerous occasions, and look at all of the months that's failed to break through this region. So even recently, 1, 2, 3 3 months that have failed to break through there. We should have, I'll just mark that in. So realistically, this could be the catalyst that sees USDJPY actually falling much lower. Some reason that appears to be messing up, but as you can see, that level just in there, with all of those rejections, and we've fallen from that level now, currently supported on the simple moving average. However, as you can see, we've had this bearish engulfing evening star formation, which now could be could see price back through this 110 region all the way down to 105 as our initial targets, to be honest with you. On the weekly time frame, what we have here is we can see that we had this uptrend, some consolidation in between 112 weekly support and 114 resistance. I did mention this in my analysis that we would be seeing shorts from all the way up here, and what happened, the market absolutely melted last week, broke through this uptrend, broke through 112 support, and then did pull back slightly from that 111 support region. So now I do expect to see price move back up to retest this 112 and potentially even 112.50 in line with this trend line, before then heading lower. 110 would be my initial downside target, before potentially all the way down at this point right here, 105 to around the 105 level, to be honest. So on the daily time frame, you can see that we had we had this wedge, this pennant formation, and following, I believe we also had a fib that looks something like this. So price came right back towards that 78.6 and then absolutely melted, smashed through our initial fib targets all the way to that 111 daily support. And you can see how that 111 support is holding up currently. It looks like a nice region for price to reverse from, and you can see this green line that I've drawn in, this little zone here, is in line with these lows. So realistically, price could reverse from anywhere from this point to this 112.50 level, as I've just mentioned. I mean, something interesting that I've noticed here, if we draw on some ranges, so something that looks a little bit like this, so potentially be looking for a breakout. Obviously we've seen the breakout here. A retest would be nice. However, with the bearish momentum seen from this candlestick, we may not be able to make it as high as the 112.50, which is why we're watching out for this region right here for reversals back down towards 110. On the 8-hour time frame here, you can see I've already mapped out the move towards the upside, so you can see how price has struggled down at this 111 region. We've now had 2 spikes through, and after bearish pressure on Friday, the market closed as a spinning top candle. So if we take, you'll see this best from a 4-hour time frame. So if we take this range here, duplicate it, our initial target is right at that 112, should say resistance now. And then if we duplicate that once more, we're all the way back at 112.50 daily resistance. And just look how well that lines up, guys. So I'm not saying that we may not see further consolidation within this region, but I do anticipate a breakout towards the upside to see that overall retracement. Just simple range play, guys. Yeah, could be in for quite a nice move. I mean, in terms of Fibonacci, looking at something like that. So our 50%, I'll just reveal those levels. So our 50% lines up right at 112.25 at minor key level, 38.2 just below the 112. So I am really liking this as a short-term buy, long-term or mid to long-term downside. Onto Usdcad. We've actually seen crazy bullish strength in this market last week, and that was helped by, obviously, as you well know, do always like to check oil on this chart, but yeah, helped by oil, which has gone absolutely through the floor. So onto the weekly time frame here, I mentioned about that $50 per barrel key level. Last week price absolutely obliterated that level, heading straight for that $45. And you might have just seen that I think there is potential to even fall as low as the $35 per barrel mark, which I have been anticipating for quite some time now. It will be really great if we can see that level, and I will be looking to initiate buy orders from that region. But what does this mean for USD CAD? So cheaper oil means that Canadian exports go down, and so we are looking at a USD CAD gaining strength, which we've already seen here. Now prices above that 1.3500 monthly support level was resistance, now turned to support. I think we could be looking straight towards that 1.3750 weekly resistance. So initially we were looking at this region right here for a reversal region. Price has now smashed through that weekly resistance. So for me now, I am looking at price to create a double top at this 1.3750 level before then potentially heading downside. On the monthly time frame, here you can see we had a push towards the downside with this bearish move, consolidation here in form of exhaustion, a new push to create a new low, consolidation, potential double top here, and then a new push towards the downside. What we could actually do is draw on it's quite a long-term range here on the monthly time frame that we are just seeing consolidation within. So I would like to see a nice reversal from that level, which does line up with dollar weakness. Obviously it gives oil slightly more room to head towards the downside. We may just see a spike through this towards that 1.4 major level, but we'll see. Definitely watching this region for reversals. So yeah, as I say, much the same on the weekly time frame. Lots of bullish momentum overall, looking towards that 1.3750. We would like to see some form of pullback to enable us to get onto the long positions. For example, we haven't yet retested that 1.3500 monthly support, which I would be wary of, but now we've broken through that 1.3580. We may just see price pull back to there and then head higher, especially with how the market has just taken off at the end of last week. So I mean, this is the 4-hour time frame. Very little in the way of bearish moves here. Price supported nicely by that exponential moving average, now above daily support and monthly support. So overall looking towards that 1.3750, but we could be seeing a pullback this week first. Finally, onto Gbp USD, and another interesting one. I've been bearish on this pair for a very long time. I even called that we could be seeing 1.2 and potentially even lower. However, my bias has changed somewhat on this pair. If you've been following the analysis, you will know this, and I do think that with Brexit negotiations developing, if we're not provided we're not given any news that's too detrimental, that's too serious, and Theresa May is able to maintain stability, or at least a level of stability, I do think we'll start to see a reversal from this 1.2500 region. As you can see, this month has already spiked to that level and has pulled back slightly, but as we remain below the moving average, we do have to watch as it just squeezes price towards that level. So I do think that we have the potential to see that level once more, further consolidation above this 1.2500, as we saw last week close as a spinning top candle, which was also an inside bar formation showing indecision in the market. Yeah, we could be seeing some more of this. We did have this upside wick, essentially retesting the upside, and well, you'll see that better on the daily time frame. We've had all of these retests of this 1.2700 level, so now we are back below the moving averages just about on the daily time frame. I am expecting price to roll over from here back down towards that 1.2500. Obviously this range here is essentially determined by this inside bar formation, and if we duplicate that range, we can see it does line up very nicely with that 1.2500 target. All of these wicks to the upside does lead me to think that we've seen the rejection from that 1.2700 region. Now this is on the 8-hour time frame. You can see that we had this ascending triangle, rejection after rejection after rejection along this level, spikes towards the upside. Price did find support on the moving averages. However, this final candle after that last spike to the upside broke through this uptrend, has found a small amount of support on that 1.2620. As you can see, I'll highlight this better here, we are in somewhat of a range here, but now back below the moving averages. We'll be looking for those to cross over this week to see us down towards 1.2540 and 1.2500 overall. I mean, we could see price pull back from this 1.2620 level, retest the moving averages, which have now crossed over to the downside, potentially even retest this zone here, in line with the 1.26700. Now just looking for price to break through these December lows and fall, as I say, 1.2540 initially, overall looking at the 1.2500. So I hope you guys got all of that. I hope it all makes sense to you. I'll be back midweek after Christmas to give you your update. So happy trading, guys. Hope you all have a great week.